right, it is just a little after 5:30. We'll go ahead and call this to order. If you guys are ready, we are. We have several guests in the audience here, and we thank you all for coming. Roll call. The board members are here. I'll introduce us. Mr. Rick Taylor, Vanessa Lucas, Joy Campbell, and Tanya Sattel. And Mark Biggs could not attend tonight, but he is online with us virtually. Item 2 is routine consent actions. Under A is approved payment of bills. Joy makes a motion.
Second.
Vanessa seconds. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Carry that one along. Item 3, discussion and action items. Under A, instruction and curriculum would be to hear the report from middle school principal Kevin Coombs.
All right.
You get to do your own setup. I like it.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to the board for allowing me to come out tonight for one last middle school report for the year for me. It's definitely a privilege to be able to do that one last time. We've had a great year at the middle school, and so I just want to go ahead and go through some of the celebrations. You know, obviously, we started school on August 11th, 5 days a week, all of our students. It was fantastic. Great to see that after a couple of years of not being able to do that. We had a new BCMS softball team that was able to practice and begin some competitions. Flex Friday is something that we started new this past year. They were really focused on some physical and mental health with our students. We did those once a month, and we had some other people from outside agencies come in and help us out with those, and so we always really like it when we can get some outside agencies to come in and help us with our kids. We were also, we found out that we were a U.S. News and World Report Best Middle School in the state of Kentucky. We were ranked number 52 in the state of Kentucky out of 302 middle schools, so that was something definitely to be proud of. We participated in the Kindness Across the Commonwealth Week. That was definitely thanks to Miss Casey Toy, Miss Carrie Critchlow, our two school counselors. They do a fantastic job at the middle school working with our kids, and we had a successful week there. Our clubs and all of our sports were in full swing this year. We had a great year in all of those. K-Prep testing went smoothly. Again, thanks to Miss Carrie Critchlow. She is our testing coordinator at BCMS, and she always does a fantastic job there. Our 8th graders did their first ever defensive learning presentations. They went well. They definitely can be improved upon, and I think we had some good ideas from several of our teachers. Some of them are here tonight, about how we can work to improve those in the coming years. And then obviously we had our 8th grade promotion with everybody in the gym, and the gym was packed again, kind of like it always is. Strategic plan next steps continue with Flex Fridays, continue with our Terrace Metrics. That's a mental health survey that we do with our kids to help us identify kids who may need a little extra help. We want to continue with our maroon and white schedule, and this year we had set that to where Mondays and Wednesdays were maroon, Tuesdays and Thursdays were white, and Fridays kind of alternated that. And so that's going to continue, and continue making sure that our counselors get scheduled to go into those classrooms and work with our students. As far as professional development goes, this before school starts this coming year, PLCs for teaching partners, they're going to refine assessments and look at the standards. They're going to talk about strategies for moving students toward independence, motivation, and perseverance. We have a gentleman coming in by the name of Dave Shepard. He came in several years ago to our school and some of the other schools around the district, and he does a fantastic job of giving teachers ideas to really help motivate students in the classroom. Also continue with Kagan and other engagement strategies, so that's another training day for our teachers, and then a team building day for our entire staff. What's next? Well, what next is a new principal, a new assistant principal, and several new teachers in the building. So there's a lot going on there. Miss Flood is here this evening, and I know she has lots of great ideas and things that they are working on right now. Basically, on the last day of school, on our closing day, I just kind of stepped aside and let her take things over, because on those days you really do start planning for the next school year. So a fantastic year at the middle school. I cannot brag enough on our teachers and what they do on a daily basis in our building, how hard they work. and the effort that they put into helping all of our kids in the classroom and in other areas as well. And of course, obviously, I need to also brag on our kids. We have a great bunch of kids at the middle school. Middle schoolers can sometimes be different when it comes to. They are unique. Maybe that's a better word to use. Unique. They're finding themselves, and but I feel like BCMS does a fantastic job of helping them do that each and every year. So that's my report.
You didn't say the word remarkable not one time.
I did not. I'm not sure if that word is going to continue with the being used the amount that I used it at the middle school, but it has been a remarkable 5 years for me as the principal, and I appreciate that opportunity over the last 5 years to lead the school.
You know, all great principals have a slogan, and remarkable was yours, as you are.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Great job, and again, just another fantastic year by our middle school. The entire team at the middle school, they do a great job. Great kids, great place, a great place for our kids to learn. So, great job, Mr. Coombs, and everyone working at the middle school.
All right, we'll move on to item B. Mark, chime in.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
We'll move on to item B, which is operations. Under what number 1 is here the update on the high school construction project.
Sure.
Be Ray.
It's good to be back with you all and good to see you. It's been a while,
Good
but
to see you.
hopefully you've had a good start to the summer. I think we're almost halfway through already. It's hard to believe that July is Friday or Saturday? Friday.
Friday.
Saturday's my anniversary. I got to remember it.
All right.
Don't miss
Mine
that.
too.
That's right. I got to keep. I'm ready to go. I'm prepared. So.
There you go.
Yeah, right.
No, it is good to be back to you and see you all again. Michael and I walked around the building today, so we had an extensive punch list, as you've known and seen. So they're working through. There's still some items to be completed, and I think we're going to touch base with John Hagan later. Probably get in contact with him tomorrow and kind of go over a few things, and then try to get those items addressed and get that buttoned up. So. Other than that, a lot of the progress has been made. We're about 50% through. I will tell you, we do have officially our certificates of substantial completion, so the building is complete, and we did get our letters from HBC this past week for full occupancy. So we're good to go, and the building can be used for its fully intended purpose. But we do still have some items to address, and we'll be getting those done here in the coming weeks, and hopefully within the next month we'll be finished. So. That's what I got. It's a pretty brief update, but that's where we are. So, okay?
Okay.
Any
I
questions?
appreciate you coming for that brief update.
No problem. No problem.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank
Ray.
you.
Sure.
Happy anniversary, Ray.
Thank you. 11.
Don't forget.
11. Lucky 11. So I remember that.
Item 2, discuss the upcoming change orders for the high school project.
So we thought that, first of all, John Hagan called in on my phone. I apologize, we couldn't get the conference line going, so he's on my phone. John, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. So what we decided to do was just, the last change order that we've got to consider, of course, is the paving. And we've got some options that we wanted to go over with you and talk about it if you want to during this meeting, and then whatever we decide, if we need to do something else, we'll take action on it in July. John, do you want to go through the options real quick?
Sure. I guess the two separate things. The first of which was a proposal request to widen the drive over by the ROTC wing, widen that new driveway out. And there was an proposed extension to the existing parking lot, kind of like a turnaround area, if you will, over behind towards the gym section. Michael might be able to describe that area a little bit better than me, but and up close to the new athletic complex, there's some asphalt paving to be completed where the new sidewalks and whatnot went in. So those 3 areas were part of a proposal request, and we got pricing back from the contractor from Rising Sun. It came in at $106,671.70. So that was the option to perform that paving if you desired it. I will say, we are planning to tackle the entire paving on the campus as part of the next project. So that's kind of the discussion we were looking to have, is whether or not we wanted to tackle this now or lump it in with the next project when that time comes. Secondly, of course, is the repair work that's required for the section of asphalt that was damaged during the construction phase. We've been talking about whether or not the proposed credit they were giving was enough of a value to take and let them walk away from the project, or to get that section patched. So the current proposed credit, I can pull my email back up here, is $22,425.66. Or we can have them go ahead and patch those areas in disrepair, kind of as a Band-Aid until we do tackle it as part of the next project.
So,
So
so either way, we're gonna patch that area. It's just a matter of whether or not we want Rising Sun to go ahead and patch that now, or give us a credit and we'll take care of it on our end. That's one of the issues. And then whether or not we wanna go ahead and just pave that area where the weight room addition is at, and where the parents come around that loop. So that's kind of where we're at as far as the options go. And we thought we'd put that out there for you guys if you wanted to discuss it some.
So Rick, what's your thought?
Tanya?
Well,
Yes,
go ahead.
Tanya, can you hear me?
sure can,
Go ahead,
yes.
Mark.
Okay, it's my suggestion that we take Rising Sun's money and say, have a nice day, have someone else patch it, and then wait till next year when we do the whole thing and do it right.
What was you gonna say, Rick?
I was gonna say, obviously, with the price of oil and everything like that, that pretty much has bumped the price of this completely out of sight. So, you know, that sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Now, as far as the parent loop and everything like that, do we want to discuss something in that area, or do we just want to do this as
Part of the middle school. Well,
I'm a fan of getting that parent loop done, only because I use it every day.
yeah, that would be my thought.
Safety wise, it's a concern.
obviously that part next to the weight room is a choke point.
Mhm.
Is that gonna be a problem? You know, obviously we haven't.
Well, I mean, we made it work this year. I mean, we can make it work.
Okay.
But my thought would be to go ahead and do that, do that piece of it and take the credit of Rising Sun on the other.
We could get pricing on doing the part around the weight room and then the parent loop, and then
And
hold
just-
off on the back part.
Just patch the back.
And just
until-
patch the back. We could
Yeah,
look
that's
at
what-
that too.
I think, you know, just patching the back is probably as good as we can do right now, because I think there's gonna be some fairly extensive work that needs to be done.
Yes, there will be.
And, you know, it might be better for us to do it when we're taking care of the bigger parcel, you know, from the.
My biggest point is, I think we've had enough of Rising Sun as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, I
to me,
think
let's take the money and run,
Yeah.
you know, and then we'll figure out what else we want to do.
we do need that line there by the weight room for the morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so John, we'll work on the credit piece of it for the 22,000. Did you get that? And,
Go ahead, prepare the change orders to take that money.
yeah, go ahead and do that, and then we'll discuss further the weight room, area around the weight
Weight
room.
room, the parent
the
loop.
parent
And the parent loop,
Okay.
so,
And
Yeah.
what it would take just to patch up.
I
right.
don't want to try to sway anybody's vote or decision, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say I think you would be getting much better value in quantity to do that new work as part of the next project.
Right.
We'll take that in consideration, John.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, anything else you guys want?
Well, you didn't say a motion, so I.
There's no action.
No,
There's
we
no
just
action.
just take the
Yeah.
credit and we'll approve it on the July meeting.
All right, John, hey, thanks.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Michael, whenever you bring that next month, there'll be a drawing that shows.
Yeah, we've got one now,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
identifies the areas.
Yeah, it's in the drive, it's
Yeah,
just
we'll have
difficult to see.
plenty of
I didn't have time
documentation
to-
for you to see, and,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Item 3, discuss and approve the 5 campus security monitor positions.
So what this is in response to, I believe it's HB 63, it's known as the SRO bill. There was a bill passed by the General Assembly that it requires SRO on every campus in the state, or that a district has to seek a waiver from the school security marshal if they can't provide that due to funding or staffing purposes. I've had some preliminary discussions with Sheriff Richardson, which he's been incredible to work with. We are working on possibly being able to add a second SRO to the district, but there are some problems with maybe having to do 5 additional ones. One, it could cost anywhere from, well, at minimum $600,000 a year, so there's some cost issues, and there's some staffing issues. As everyone knows, Sheriff Richardson's dealing with officer shortages right now, so there's some issues there. So in asking the school security marshal for a waiver from that, we are proposing adding a campus security monitor for each, for our middle school, HES, IES, Ben Johnson, and Custer Elementary, because the one SRO we have does spend a considerable amount of time at the high school, and this person would be responsible for checking doors, checking windows, the safety side, helping with supervision, checking bathrooms, checking parking lots, and just trying to help out and make sure that we're keeping our buildings as secure as possible. So, and happy to answer any questions you might have about that.
So is this during just the school day, or is this during extracurricular activities?
It would be during the school day.
Right, so am I envisioning this correctly? So the monitors will present to work at 7:30, 7:15, whatever. They will be continuously walking around the building, checking classroom doors, checking exterior doors. If there's a large congregation of students or individuals, they'll be in with that. Well, they obviously won't be carrying a weapon because they're not law enforcement. Will they be carrying any type of defensive mechanism, such as a taser?
We would have to look into what is allowable there. Mike Harnett has agreed to help with like training purposes and talking through that.
Do you have anything you want to say right now, Mike? Or?
No, we're just in additional steps, and after it's approved or whatever, then we'll start going into those details. But I've talked with other school districts across the country that are doing something similar to this, and as far as what they carry on their waistband and whatnot, it all depends on what the district approves and what the monitor is certified to carry. So if it's somebody like, just to use an example, like a constable that chooses to apply for this position and is hired in that position, that constable's got the same carrying as a police officer. So that one may be different than somebody else that's just a normal employee. So you have to look at it case by case, the legalities, and then you have to put it in your board policies and procedures, what's allowed and what's not. So we're not anywhere near to that point. We were just getting the ball rolling at this point. And the state will have something to say about it, and then, obviously the local board will have something to say about it, and those type of things.
We will have to approve the job listing.
There's a job description in the
Right,
packet
right.
for what it would be.
But will we approve their abilities, like you're saying, if it's a constable that can carry,
If it were yes, I mean, we would have to make sure that we are following all the laws and legalities about what they can carry. And right now, we haven't envisioned this person carrying a weapon. It's more toward being focused solely on the safety of the building and making supervision and checking parking lots. If someone is sitting out in the parking lot for a considerable amount of time, this person hopefully would recognize that and we could check into it. So it's there are several school districts that have kind of taken this model on, and Mike did a really nice job of securing some job descriptions from some other school districts, just taking a look at it. And we don't have to make a decision on this tonight. We can table it and decide at another meeting, but I did want to put it before us for discussion.
It's not a sworn officer position. It's more of just an extra set of eyeballs that's what they do all day long, is walk around and look for those things.
Right. Yes, Mr. Beggs?
Hey, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, just a piece of information, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike Harnett. The biggest handicap we have is the state government has written legislation that says any SRO has to be a graduate of a law enforcement academy. So that's a big hiccup in our system. So when we try to hire an SRO, they have to be a graduate of a law enforcement academy.
Actually, they have to go above and beyond that, Mark. They actually even have to go to a 2-week training in addition to what just a normal police officer on the streets has. A sworn SRO has 2 weeks of training specifically for school resource officer, so they're actually more than a road officer.
Right, in addition to being a graduate of an academy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that's where that's a big problem for us, because the local and the state agencies can't even get people hired on, much less the school districts to get people as SROs.
Yes.
So, just so everyone knows where my thoughts are, I am all about keeping everybody safe. I just wanna make sure that if we put monitors in position and they encounter somebody in the parking lot, they can act however they need to for them to be safe as well. I'm gonna put that as well as our student body. Now, I'm not a big fan of guns on campus, so don't everybody go out and think that. I'm just saying, I think I wanna hear a little bit more information and a little more thought about what's gonna happen. Now, and maybe I, again, didn't do enough due diligence in reviewing my packet before I came in. For that, I apologize.
Nothing like more time.
Nothing like more time. So, I would like to move that we table this until our July meeting. I mean, I'm all in support of the monitors, because I myself, as some of the principals will attest, have questioned, why is this gym door open during school hours? I have been that person, as Michael Moreland will tell you. So, I'm all in favor of having it. It's just, I'd like a little bit more information before I say yes, let's do it.
And Dr. Carter and I have had the conversation. We honestly don't know if we could hire 5 before school starts anyway. We don't know if there's 5 applicants out there, you know, but we know for sure we can't hire 5 SROs, because
Well,
we know for sure they're not out there.
So do you think the delay will cause,
No,
am I putting up a roadblock to the safety of our
No,
students?
I'm not saying that at all.
Okay.
I don't know if we advertise it tomorrow, we would have, you know, 5 applicants. And, you know, the applicants are gonna have to go through a very detailed background check and all those things too. But this is just more or less just getting the ball rolling. We had to start somewhere. So we started with a job requirement of the applicants, and then we'll go from there. And then we've got to get to the details of their expectations as far as what they do if they encounter a suspicious person or whatever. Those are things that we have to, you know, deal with between now and then.
The waiver is the biggest hurdle, isn't it? Because this will have to fly with the state, so.
How long do we have to approve the waiver?
Well, we're supposed to, the school security marshal has told all the superintendents that there'll be information coming about the waiver process starting after July 1st. So we don't have that information yet so that we can submit the waiver. We're just working to have a plan in place.
Another
Yeah.
example of being told this is what we need, what you need to do, but no real guidance or whatever.
No, there hasn't been a lot.
Okay.
All right.
Give me a second.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
Joy, to table. Joy made a motion, Vanessa second. To table this motion. Any other discussion there? And all those in favor of that? We'll table that one. Thank you. Item 4 is approve the recovery of indirect costs from the food service program for the fiscal year 2022-2023 school year.
It's a allowable charge that we do to the food service program for essentially operating the program. I recommend approval. Do it every year.
So,
Okay. Second.
Joy makes the
Oh, I'm sorry.
motion.
That's fine.
Rick will second. Any discussion there? All those in favor? Glad they do so well. Item 5 is approve the amended school calendar for the 21-22 school year.
This is a formality that Kentucky Department of Education requires that an amended school calendar showing what days that we missed for weather, days that we made up for weather, and that's all this is. I recommend approval.
Move to approve.
Rick makes the motion. Vanessa seconds. Any discussion there? All those in favor? Got that year over with. Item 6 is approve the second reading of the annual policy and procedure update.
Nothing has changed since the first reading was approved at the last meeting. I recommend approval.
I'm glad I didn't have to read it twice.
Yeah.
It's good, it's a good year. Did you say?
Yep. She moved, I'll second.
Vanessa makes the motion, Joy seconds. Any discussion on that item? All those in favor? All right, we'll move on to item 4, which would be public comment. We do have a couple people signed up to speak, and first up would be Miss Katie Berry.
Ms. Berry, before you speak, she's asked to have just a small extension of 5 minutes.
First of all, I just want to apologize. I am not a speaker. I'm a PE teacher. So you will see me shake, you will see me tremble, you will hear my voice shake. But I just feel like it's something I need to do. So when someone asked me, a so-called friend, asked me to speak tonight, I told them quickly no. I will pass out, I'll stutter, who knows what I'll say. But after much thought and prayer, I decided it was something I needed to do. Why? Because I'm worth it. Not only am I worth it, but all these people behind me are worth it. So here we go. I need a little help. Help me out for 1 second. With a show of hands, how many of you in this room took the time as a child to play school? I see lots of hands going up. Lots of us love getting out our chalkboards, our coloring books and crayons, and participating in what we thought we were the teacher and our students. As I was writing this, I had to think to myself, do our little people still play school? I still am asking myself that tonight. With all the things they hear in this world, how society has come, would they still want to play school? Would it even be fun to be at school and play school and be a teacher? That is my question. I turned 44 a few weeks ago. It made me stop and think, what have I done with my life? What do I have to show? Quickly, disappointment came over me. I'm a single teacher that has what? I've been here 18 years with you all. I was a traveling PE teacher for 6 years before I was lucky enough to be at one school closer to my home. I am proud of that fact. But what do I have? I do have a roof over my head, car, and food. But I'll be perfectly honest. Let's lay it on the table. Let me tell you, there are times that little house, I didn't make the payment. There's been times that I felt like I was back in school, yep, eating ramen noodles and cereal as an adult. I've had things shut off because I couldn't pay it to make the due date. And you know what? I'm pretty sure that these people behind me have experienced it too. There are people in this very room that I know go through it. I don't know about you all in front of me. I don't care to ask. But I do know that at one time there was a dream for many of us that raised their hand that wanted to play school. But now as I look at it, I'm not sure if I would do it over again. The strange thing is, I come from nothing. I was raised by my father who passed away at an early age, so I'm pretty used to nothing, to be perfectly honest, and I'm not ashamed. But don't we all just want to better ourselves each and every day? And don't we encourage our students to want to better themselves? I am blessed by all means to have a job. I do what I love. I get to teach kids. I get to make a difference in their life. And I help them change their dreams. And I hope they will reach their dreams. But you know what? Oh, it comes at an expense. There are so many expenses we don't think about. Stress, anxiety, health issues, and now financial pressures. They're everywhere. So let's do another thing. Being a teacher, hopefully you'll cooperate. So close your eyes, please do so, and raise your hand if you can answer this question. If you have dealt with any of these expenses in any way, shape, or form, would you please raise your hand at this time? You may open your eyes and put your hands down. If you were one of those that kept your eyes open, I hope that you were surprised. I hope you were surprised by the people that raised their hand for what they're going through. Yes, I know before you say it. Stress, anxiety, and health issues come with any and all jobs in this community and in this world. I am aware, but not all workers struggle financially because of the job they have. Why do teachers and staff not speak up? Well, I myself call it embarrassing. Another thing that's been embarrassing for me, and probably many others behind me as well, is the fact that many of us have worked more than one job. I am now working 3. My PE job, I myself work at HA Sandwiches and the ballpark. Many times, I hear the most embarrassing comment, "Hey, Miss Katie, why are you here?" Good question. I can't answer that because it would be embarrassing. I am not speaking for just myself. Please know that. I speak for the newcomers, the young ones that Mr. Whipple spoke of the other day. And now I want to talk about the veterans that have stayed and been through so many changes, especially in the last 3 years. Many of those are now starting to be unsure of their profession, and yes, money plays a part. How can a person that mows and shapes every occupation out there, they should not have to be asked silly questions like I just asked you. But yet, here we are, fighting for what we deserve, more than 1%. Recently, I learned the real meaning of being financially stable. I'm an educated person, I thought, but when I got further into research, it meant no debt, bills are all paid, and at the end of it all said and done, you have extra for extra comfort. My whole life, I have just only been what I thought as stable. I didn't even think about debt. I never thought the debt that I incurred. I know most of us, as some of you in here have debt, you in front of me have debt. We all do. But for many of us in this room right now, our debt comes from what we do every day. I myself, being still paying for my master's, forever maybe, but I will continue to pay because I love what I do. There are others in this room that I know are doing the exact same thing. They just don't want to admit it because if you remember, it's embarrassing. Some would love to make more money and get a rate change, but how can we? We can't even pay the bill of the masters. But again, I'll say it, debt should not be or come due to you because of your occupation. Daily, all staff, every person at that little schoolhouse pushes students to learn and be their very best. Now, more than ever, we are worried and we are asked to care for their mental health. But are we caring for ours? We all want what's best for each and every student that comes through that door, from janitors, custodians, lunchroom workers, aides, nurses. I could go on and on. It's all of us. I used to have a favorite saying. You can even ask some of my students today. My saying was, if you be your best, eventually good things will come. I've always said it each and every year. But you know what? In the last couple months, it's not my motto anymore. Today, I stand before you with my new saying. It will now be, I am worth it. You are worth it. The people in this room are worth it. We are worth more than 1%. Together, in this room, and everybody in the schoolhouse, we, the staff, make Breckinridge County strong.
Thank you, Ms. Berry. The next person listed to speak is Ms. Gina Hodgkins. Got your last name right, Gina?
A lot of yours are fine.
Mine, same.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give the disclosure that I'm not a public speaker either. So you all are a little bit taller than my typical audience, so bear with me.
You want us to sit in the floor and make
Well, you know, that could be an option. Whatever makes you comfortable. For those of you that don't know me, I graduated from here and I've taught at HES since 2006. I'll admit I've never attended board meetings, neither as an employee or as a parent, until the last two that have been held. Honestly, I never felt a need because I have always had faith and trust in our board to do what is right. I realize decisions have already been made regarding our pay schedules, but I have some thoughts that I would like to share with you. During the May board meeting, a presentation was made and there was a teacher on video who said that she spends more time at school than at home during the school year. This is the norm for so many teachers. We spend so much extra time outside of school hours to take care of all the tasks that simply cannot be done during the school day. Or we're working ball game gates, concession stands, monitoring dances for our students. That list goes on and on and on. Yet we are not compensated for those things. Teachers give so much of themselves at school. There's really not much left for us to give to other facets of our lives. When we do leave school, we take the burdens of school and of our students home with us. There has been more than one comment made about how our step and rank pay increases. They are there along with our 1% raise. When I look at the step increase for myself this year on our salary schedule, I will go up by $8 this year. I can't go across the street to McDonald's and get a meal for $8. Next year, I can look forward to $28. I'm at a rank 1 on the pay scale, but I'm not there because of the district. I'm there at my own funding to get those extra degrees, to be able to earn as much as I can. So there's no credit given to the district for that. Neither of these increases seem worth mentioning when phrased in this manner, much like the 1% increase in pay. Inflation is much higher than 1%. When I went into education, I knew that a pay scale was not going to make me a rich woman. However, I never imagined that the pay scale would not keep up with the basic cost of living. I applaud you all for increasing classified pay. That was so long overdue. And it's great that coaches are paid adequately for their time now. In fact, it seems like all positions, with the exception of teachers, were given a significant bump in pay, whether it be through base pay or through stipends. This is something that I fail to understand the reasoning behind. I think we all fail to understand this reasoning. The 2 board meetings that I have attended have been very informational to me. And I realize I'm out of time. I'm almost done.
Please continue.
I've learned that bus drivers are getting paid an extra daily bonus for simply showing up and doing their job. I've learned that education doesn't seem to be our school district's #1 priority. After all, sports coaches don't do a whole lot to increase our test scores. I've always thought that that was something that was made to be out to be pretty important. But my biggest takeaway from the meetings is learning how little respect there is from some, not all, but some board members. You ran for and you were elected to this position, and you should know that listening to teachers' concerns and having respectful, that is my key word in this sentence, respectful discussions about those concerns might be part of the job that you signed up for. I'm disappointed at the disrespect and deflection of concerns that we have received from some of you sitting here tonight. To the comment that I have heard that I thought it was all about the kids, not the money. It is about the kids. That's why so much of our money goes out of our own pockets to fund what is needed for our classrooms and for our kids. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Hodgkins, and next will be Mr. Rob DeHaven.
Sorry I missed the last board meeting. Y'all rescheduled it when we were at FFA State Convention, which we had 20-some kids competing. And they did rather well. We had first, second, and third individuals placing the state. So had a good week that week. I'm once again probably not as organized as some. Before I came here tonight, I had to call an ambulance to take my dad to the doctor, or to the hospital. So just bear with me. That great man that we talked about the last time I was here. But one thing he told me to do was to keep fighting the fight, so that's why I'm standing in front of you all. First off, I'd like to clear up comments that were made about our superintendent getting a 10% raise. I think those were in reference to according to KDE website, from basically starting the year of 2021 school year. I think your pay went from 120,000 to 132,000. I think that's where the 10% raise came into play. Once again, I'm here in front of you all to represent the majority of the teachers in requesting once again a 10% raise. Basically, I did type some things up this time. Just wow is about how I have to start off. And what an eye-opening experience this has been. It has been very evident how the majority of y'all feel about the teachers in this county. You've made that clear. I'm just amazed at the animosity that has been shown toward teachers by this administration. We have provided you all with information and feelings of the majority of the employees of the district, and instead of taking this information and figuring out what's wrong with our district, you all have decided we don't know what we're talking about, and you know best. For the record, none of you all have the experience and knowledge of what happens in a school more than I do. What I do know is that you all are only provided certain information to drive the narrative, whereas I've been in the trenches for 26 years, and I'm a very observant person. The greatest knowledge in being a teacher is living the life, being in a classroom, and cannot be learned in a book. Let me paint a picture for you that pretty much sums up how we feel. In March, there was a scheduled board meeting. That night, there was a slim chance of some severe weather. To be safe, the board meeting was rescheduled. There was no bad weather, really no weather at all. Now, back on February the 6th, they were calling for snow for the afternoon. School was called off for the 6th for students, but teachers and employees were still supposed to report to their respective schools for a few hours. This was not going to be a day where kids had any schoolwork. It was a bank day. On the morning of the 6th, the snow started before 6 a.m. and was coming down at an inch an hour. Instead of making the right call and sending out notifications to not report, employees were still expected to report to empty buildings on a no-work day for students. How important and respected do you think we felt? There were employees that ended up off the road in hazardous positions, but luckily nothing severe. The kicker is, and we all say this around, if something severe had happened to someone, that job would have been posted in a week. There's a saying that when you are trying to figure out what's going on, follow the money. Where has so much money been spent? How much of that money could have been used to increase salaries? There was a new teacher position created at the high school for no reason except strength and conditioning. When I was a part of athletics at Breckinridge County, our coaches were our strength and conditioning people. During the interview process of this teacher position, it was said that we will do whatever it takes to beat Lee County. Now, standing before you, I'm going to change my role a little bit. Instead of being a teacher, I'm going to talk to you about being a father of students in this district. And maybe we've looked at this all wrong. Maybe you should look at salary increases another way. I would hope you all are aware of staffing in our schools. There are multiple teaching positions in our district that go unfilled every year, all year. These students are in a class with a long-term sub, and God love our subs, but not with a certified teacher. Maybe salaries need to be increased to attract competent teachers. I mean, why would they come here when they can make thousands more in surrounding counties? I have especially liked the reaction of those that got major increase to their stipends and them saying they didn't get a bigger raise. Increase in stipends is a raise. The reason for the, once again, we've discussed this, but the reason for the stipend increases is so we didn't lose those people to other districts. The stipend increases for those involved has no direct impact on student education. Increasing teacher salaries will level the playing field for getting competent, certified teachers in every classroom, which will have a direct impact on student education. Let's do it for the kids. In my closing, I would just like to say, when I retire, I look forward to working with you all.
As usual, you all for coming out, for sharing your thoughts. We appreciate the opportunity to hear from you.
Motion for adjournment?
Move to adjourn.
Rick makes the motion, Vanessa seconds. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Thank you very much.